speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Wednesday, and it's almost 2 p.m. Central European Time. Yeah, now I actually do hope that I have audio. Yeah, I do have audio. I realized I forgot to check just before I popped on the final live button, but we do have audio. Yeah, quite a few things has happened. I haven't been live for a bit either, because I've been traveling and they changed around the treatment weeks already in the beginning for my mom, which causes me to now be in Denmark during the weeks where I go extra live. Yeah, that's just it's just been busy. I think that's a short version of it. Generally, I think it's looking good. It's looking much better than it was, so I am lightly optimistic that there is hope. So, hello, Sarah, and good morning to you. I hope you're having a great morning. I see Nightbot is popping in. It is sort of getting warmer here. Summer has definitely struck the Netherlands. So let's see what the weather is here around the local wavelengths. It should be like 25-ish or so degrees, I think. Oh, 26. Pretty close. So the weather conditions where I am is partly cloudy. I would say that's pretty true. It's like sunny and then it's cloudy. Temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from west-southwest and current humidity is 52. So it's summer. Nice, solid, normal summer here. The weather for Union Bridge right now is 81 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 27 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from southeast at 0 miles per hour. Can you say it's blowing if it's 0? I'm questioning. It is, though, really humid there at your place at 75%. So that sounds like it's like warm heat for Union Bridge, huh? Like, yuck, actually. It would be my first thinking here. Because I know when it's like really warm here and we have a bit of a more humid, temperate area, because it's not really like a desert region. It warmth here just feels warmer. A good example would be a couple of years ago, okay, 15 years ago, I was in Georgia in America, about 2 hours south of Atlanta, and it was like 10 degrees warmer than where I came from. But compared to on a similar temperature, it definitely wouldn't have felt the same. Like it felt a lot cooler. Well, it was warm, but because it was still like soaring 95-ish degrees Fahrenheit. But a 95 degrees Fahrenheit here in the Netherlands just feels much more humid and damp and like pressing on you. Yesterday was bad too. I'm sorry, Sarah. Hello, Suzanne. Good morning. I hope it's better for New Jersey, but honestly, if I read it like this, I wouldn't say it really is. 81 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from northwest, but it is at least blowing there. A little bit breeze. Humidity is 73, so that's also somewhat humid, huh? Not really that nice. So we have two options for projects to work on today. Because, well, technically I have three whips, right? But the third whip I can't work on here because if I even attempt it, like I'll be with one big project up to my ears almost, because that is my fleur blanket. What I have done, which is a new thing, I caked up the Emperor, the colorway Emperor, which is like a really solid dark purple, because I am ready to do the color change for it. Not yet, but definitely. Well, Susan, I won't blame you in needing to go to the stores before it gets too hot. I tried doing that Saturday. Apparently, the rest of the Netherlands had decided to do that Saturday as well because it was like 85, 86 degrees Fahrenheit here Saturday, and it was just like, ugh. Everybody wanted to go to the stores early. Hot, hot it was. Good afternoon. Hello, wonderful to have you with us. I am basically right now, well, I'm in my t-shirt. I don't even have a blanket around because it is also pretty warm here. I did drag out the sun screen, close the doors to kind of keep the cold in and the heat out. It is not that warm, but it's still right now warmer outside than it is indoor. So therefore I keep my doors closed because it does help on the temperature. Because surprisingly enough, I do not have an air conditioning. Heads up. But as I said, we have two options to work on because I have either the PuErhTea shawl that we started working on quite a bit a while ago, and I also have the GingerTea Cowl, which I started working on in Denmark. Um, yeah, I think let's have a look at it, right? I have been working on the PuErhTea. You can also see that on the oopsie daisy. On the what is it called? Um, thumbnail for this video. This is where we are for the PuErhTea. So we can work on this. I am not gonna take this one out, but because if I start moving this around, the cake might collapse further than wanted, and I don't want that because that will turn into a mess. It's called yarn bath, I guess. And I don't want to turn it into yarn bath because I don't have the patience to unbath it if I don't have to. The other option is the GingerTea Cowl, where I started here in the royal command. It did have a little gap when I left Denmark, but the traveling in the bag and so on kind of removed that gap. And this is, it's just one long piece right now. But that's where we are at. It's like 163, 62, 63. I think it was a 63, 163 stitch rectangle this is going to turn into. What I do like about this is it has a really nice texture already. So yeah, that are our two working options today. If you have any preference, I am happy to hear it. And if you don't, we can also work a bit on both. I do have a bit of hours to kill, so so we can easily work on both. Right now, the top tray would be my PuErhTea, so that would be the logic choice. The PuErhTea also is yeah, the one I started on the early, so that would be like logic to finish that one the quickest, I guess. We got into we did a color. I did have a color change yesterday, I think. No, the day before, Monday maybe. And that color change is basically turned into, so it's all like solid, so it's a solid mustard color, Let's see if I can. I'm just gonna find where I'm working at, because I am at row 11. So to do that, we should change to the dual camera view here. Just in a second. Yep. And then we will see if this, my friend, can get down here. Well, that might have been a bit too much, like this. And as you can see here, we have these solid mustard colors. Where we had a bit of what should we call it, sage green down here. But up here now it's just pure mustard. So I have 3 strands of this mustard color and 1 strand of the golden thread, which is like this lurex thread. The cake I am working with is the Stanley Muffin Mini Luxe, which is 90% acrylic, 10% lurex, 250 grams to 1,000 meters. So that's 8.8 ounces to 1,093 yards. Yeah. And I'm keeping the cake here down because that is the easiest way to be able to also still keep pulling the yarn while working on it. Let's see here. Row 11 is the same according to this as row 3. So that should be simple. And the challenge, of course, is if I get too warm, I can't keep working on this. And that is due to this lurex thread, so the golden thread. It starts to kind of like stick to my fingers. So it could be that we work a little on this and then I'll put it away and we'll find the GingerTea Cowl instead. So that will highly depend on how warm I get, I guess. But yeah, row 11th of this pattern is a chain 4 or a treble crochet. And then it's chain 1 and then it's a double crochet into that first stitch. Then it's chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, etc. So it is in that sense a quite quick, oopsie daisy, a quite quick row. So it would be nice if we could like finish it, I guess. So that was a 4 chains, 5 chains, because I needed to chain an extra, and then a double crochet. And then it's chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. Good morning, Gwen. I hope you are having a great morning. Grab some coffee or some tea and have a sit. I myself have my coffee / tea. Well, it's tea. I don't do coffee. My favorite mug of tea here. Can't be without it. Today it is black tea with orange. It seems quite summery, so it seems fitting. Yes. And I did make it a little bit prior to going live, so it's actually drinkable, temperature-wise, that is. So right now what I'm doing for this is basically I need to skip a stitch, and then I need to chain 1. Well, sorry. Well, I do a double crochet, then I chain 1 and I skip a stitch, and I do a double crochet. So, yeah. Every second stitch is quick because that's just a chain. And that is all the way through the end. And normally I would keep the yarn here next to me. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's... I don't know if I can move it safely. Yeah, I still can. I don't know if it's in a viewable distance here. Maybe it is. It is. But yeah, as you can see, it is getting a bit... I need to be careful. It's probably one of the last times that I will really move it around, because obviously the more I use of it, the more, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm busy with here. What I'm gonna do too, I think that's a good idea. I'll move you guys a bit closer. You're so far away. But yeah, I don't want to move too much on that yarn because obviously I don't want yarn bath. But it's nice for you to see where we're kind of coming from. It's a bit difficult to see on camera, but it is like getting to a lighter yellow eventually. It should be visible, but it's a little bit easier to see in a live view, so to say. Yeah. So I hope you're all well and having a great day, and that you're maybe having something to drink next to you and going to craft for a bit. I am, and you know, I like hanging out with you guys while I'm crafting because it's a little bit like, you know, having your own little crafting club being live. So that is something that I really enjoy. Meanwhile, I have been thinking really hard about my approach. Um, and yeah, I definitely have a few things to make. Also, last week I were in Denmark, and you know what I did while I was in Denmark? I spent lots of lovely time with my parents, but I also, one day when I had brought my mom to the hospital, went by, now listen well, went by Hobby. I have been to Hobby. And what does that mean? That means that I also did some recording, and I will need to work on some editing. I will need a little bit to do that because it was a fair bit of recording. Not as much as I wanted to, but definitely better than no recording at all. And I do need to do some editing of that to show you guys. Yeah. So that's nice. So looking forward to posting that video. The only thing is, Hobby seems to be changing things around, so the Hobby Plus seems to have gone. I don't know if they're canceling the concept of that membership fully or what their plans are. That would make me rather sad if that's the case. And I'm a little bit annoyed with the fact that I didn't ask in the store, that maybe they would have known while I was there. But I just didn't think about it. So next time will be in August, which I will have a chance to do it. Because, you know, ideally one should just be able to email customer service, but I think customer service is right now getting bombarded with everyone who's unsatisfied with the current situation of the reformatting of the website. Even I'm missing things. What I really enjoyed with the old website was all these suggestions of patterns. And that seems to have gone. Like, you have a yarn, but you have no pattern suggestions anymore. Well, the patterns are still there, but it seems the whole setup of the website is getting a really big overhaul. And from a marketing point of perspective, I'm not really sure if I hope for them the overhaul isn't finished. Let's say let's say it like this, because right now it's rather confusing for everyone. So there's right now a lot of unhappy people, which I definitely understand. I'm not too happy either. Like, you know, if you had a Hobby Plus subscription, your scratch card is missing. You used to be able to log in to do your scratch cards, stuff like that. But it seems that this whole section is finished, so I don't know if they also cancelled those subscriptions or what they did for the Hobby Plus, if that's a global cancellation thing they did or what the plans are. And if that's the case, that's fine, but like they should communicate it more clearly to the users, right? Especially those that might have a Hobby Plus subscription, and they haven't. So from a marketing point of perspective, Hobby isn't doing that great right now. They still have some awesome yarns. And I have to say, from the store I did visit in Denmark, their employees were super kind. I heard people coming into the store, they had this pattern, which was not which wasn't a hobby pattern and not normally hobby yarn she would use for it, but the employees still did their best to find fitting yarns based on the pattern and making recommendations for substitute yarns and so on. Also explaining why whichever ideal substitute yarn the customer thought was a good idea wasn't based on um, a gauge swap like expected amount of stitches, height and length, like with rows and stitches, that it wouldn't match the original yarns and so on. So I think the live customers in the live store got really good help. I just think the marketing aspect for the online store right now is lacking, or the communication part. I don't know. They probably one big team, but they could do better right now. That's for sure. So the hobby store I visited was really, really, really like nicely run, nicely clean. It was a really pleasant store, basically, in many aspects to visit. And I am looking forward to finish up editing all my recordings so that I can officially take you with me to Hobby in Denmark. But yeah, the web store part of it right now is not running too ideal. I think that is fair to say. That is, and I understand websites needs an overhaul once in a while. I genuinely do. It scares me how fast time flies. But yeah, finalizing, editing, everything is kind of planned for later this week. Where I also have some more to do. We have a yarn talk coming up Friday. Yeah, I'll be live Monday as well if everything goes to plan. And well, not this weekend, but the following weekend I might do some lives too, because I'll be home alone. So we might be able to hang out for a while if you guys feel like it. One, two. But yeah, right now it's very simple. It's chain one, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain one, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain one, skip a stitch, double crochet, until the center, which I am already almost at. I just need to see if my stitch count matches the pattern. It does. That is awesome. So in the center, we do 2 double crochets, and then we chain 2, and we do 2 double crochets again. Then we chain 1, we skip a stitch, and we work in a double crochet. Then, my friends, you can almost guess what we're going to do on the other side. So it's very straightforward and simple. And I am curious if there are 2 things that can happen today. First thing is that I get it too warm and the lurex thread starts snacking in my hand. That is when I know that it's definitely time to work on something else, because I don't want it to break. So far it hasn't broken on me, but the threads needs to glide nicely in my hands. Option 2, it won't happen, and we'll maybe reach to do a color change to the lighter yellow. So we have this mustard yellow, and the outside's light yellow, and here in between we will have like a strand slowly changing. So we'll have 2 mustard, 1 lighter yellow, maybe a sun yellow we could call it. I'm not really sure. It's a bit like a sun yellow. Where I would say the dark yellow is more of a mustard yellow. I'm thinking of a mustard sauce when I see this color. Like when I was younger, my dad used to have a glass of mustard in the fridge, and it looks a bit like that. I'm definitely not personally a mustard eater. I don't like it. And my partner despises it completely, so that's easy. He can't even have the seeds, the mustard seeds. Yeah, let's see. So we are on the second side, and I have the feeling it wants to collapse on me here. So we do need to be a little careful, because I would cry if this collapses on me. That's the downside of working from the center. And it could be that eventually, regardless, I will play safe and put it back in my working crate, project crate, where I usually have it laying. It seems to help with it when you do the center pull on these. What I do wish is, in hindsight, that I had chosen to work this up. I'm using a 3.75mm hook, and ideally I had wanted to use maybe a 4mm. In hindsight, that is. That would have maybe worked better. For the Muffin Mini Locks, it is the colorway 1252. And am I inclined to get some more Muffin Mini Locks? Probably. Like, I haven't despised working in this yarn at all. But I would probably option for just the number bigger hook. Could be that it's okay once I get it blocked. Right now it just feels like it is flowy, but it feels like a little bit denser than average fabric compared to even if I compare it to the GingerTea Cowl, which I'm working up in the Hobby Atelier yarn. Royal Command. It's named the blue. And yeah. I guess I'll just take out a little yarn after a little yarn, and we will see where we end up at. I believe the next row after this is just a bunch of double crochets. So the simplicity of what I'm doing right now is it's not very complex. It's quite easy. And things doesn't need to be complex to look beautiful. Sometimes it's just a matter of yeah. Sometimes it's just a matter of how you combine stitches. They can become really beautiful. If you haven't done it yet, don't forget to hydrate. As I said, I have my tea, which is nice and drinkable. As of right now, that is. Da, da, da. So we'll take out some more yarn. But yeah, so that's all the plans for today. And I've put some time away to get some other things done. I have plans. It's gonna be a busy week. This weekend I definitely also have plans. These days I'm working a little bit extra, probably like an hour, hour and a half every day, because of my Norwegian colleagues is on vacation. So I have promised to help her out with the basics, but that also means that she's more likely to help me out if I need it. And who knows, I might actually at some stage. Still need to get an idea of summer vacation, which might have been postponed for like September for us, like the real summer vacation. We do have a small in July, where me and my partner will go to Denmark. We will be driving there, so I won't be flying that time around to see my family. But it does mean I will have a project. I will need a project for the car. Because I'm not going to drive 9.5 hours, nor is my partner. So, in the sense of we will be sharing the driving, and when he's driving, wouldn't that be ideal if I could work on something? I just need to figure out what should I work on. I also need to make buttons for the cowl. It has, I believe, 3 or 4 buttons. So I'll need to sit down and do those at some stage. But that could wait for next week because it's not ready yet. So as long as it's not like finished, I'm not needing the buttons before it's finished, right? So should be fine. We are almost to the end of this row, which means that it will be time to find out what I need to do for row 12. But yeah, let me know what are you working on right now if you're working on something. I'd like to know. I'll be keen to know. if you are working on anything special. And yeah, meanwhile, I should really focus on getting some of my shawls blocked as well, but I guess haven't really gotten around it. But what I have gotten around is about half a year ago, I started on a project calling Eat My Freezer. Or empty my freezer, in the sense of I need to eat what was in it instead of just once in a while also buying stuff to put in it. I needed to empty it because I wanted to defrost it. It desperately needs defrosting. And today I've finally been able to empty the last bits of the freezer into we have like a small freezer in the kitchen. We have a bigger freezer on the attic, which I know sounds crazy, but yes, it's on the attic. And let me see just a moment. It's finally been able to enter it, and now I unplugged it, so it is thawing right now. So tonight, maybe if it's thawed by then, I get to clean it up. Else it's gonna be sometime tomorrow. But that's like nice because that's like getting cleaned up, and I know what goes back in the freezer is like fresh, and it's been a really good deep clean. It's been needed. So I'm actually kind of happy and proud that we got there. Row 12 is same as row 4, which is like a treble and a bunch of double crochets. Yeah. So we start by a treble, which in this case is a chain 4 because it's the first part of the stitch. We'll then turn the work, so we'll have to turn the work around here. And then we work in 2 double crochets in that first stitch, where we also kind of made the chain out from. And then now comes the simple part of this part. It's a double crochet for each stitch. So for every chain space, I make a double crochet in the chain spaces, and for every double crochet, I make a double crochet in the stitch. And I'll do that all the way to the center, and in the center we do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets before we do the other side exactly the same. So this row is another of those I would call a lovely, simple, mindless, easy to do while we are chatting along, even though I feel that I am mainly the one speaking right now. And that means that I need to figure out the stories to tell you guys. We could do one story actually, because when I traveled home Friday last week, I had quite of an adventure on my way home. And what do I mean by this? We got to the train station because I'm taking the train to the airport for the simple reasons that my dad is not super comfortable driving in Copenhagen alone. And like after he drops me off, he will be on his own on the way back. While he might be able to do it, it's a long drive for him on his own. My mom is just not currently fit enough to join to drop me off at the airport, which I totally understand. So we all agreed that I take the train, and it's looking at the costs, especially when I get the cheap train tickets, it's almost impossible to do a similar price driving, looking at the costs of diesel, benzene, gasoline. So I came to the train station and I went up to the platform, and the train was delayed 10 minutes, which is okay, fair enough. Then an American came. Actually, an American lady came, also needing to take the train to the airport. So, you know, we kind of joined in on one another because we we had to go to the same destination, and I speak well enough English, so we did that. A lovely lady. She was from Florida. She had been in Denmark on a convention for like medicals, hospitals, a convention about cancer, in fact, just to make a bit fun of the concept of what she was doing. And then she let's see if I can do this. Saved. She had the same issue I had, actually, because apparently the train at the Copenhagen Central Station to the airport had been cancelled. So we took the train all the way to Copenhagen, but we couldn't take the train from Copenhagen Central to the airport. And why was that the case? Well, one of the drive lines, so like that's an electricity line they use to feed the trains electricity so that they can actually drive, had fallen down between Copenhagen Central and the airport. And they needed to fix that. So basically, for the remainder of the days, all trains from Copenhagen Central to the airport was cancelled. And any other way to get there was basically just to take any other transportation to get there. I'm like, I need to catch a flight. She, on the other hand, only needed to catch a hotel because she was staying for like 1.5 days in Copenhagen before flying on. But we went to the metro, and I explained to her how to take the metro to the airport, and I went into the metro to the airport. I haven't used Copenhagen's metro since, I don't know, pre-2012, like probably, maybe 2012, 2013. I don't know. At least 10 years I haven't used that metro. So that was a bit of an adventure. I did manage to get to the airport in time. I have to say the metro in Copenhagen was really swift, even though I had to stop over once. But the trains constantly departed with maybe 3 minutes difference. So I never had to wait more than 3 minutes at one stage to get the train or to get the next metro train. So that was really smooth. That went really, really super smooth to the airport. At the airport itself, it's slightly longer walk at the station, like to get to the airport itself. But it went pretty fine. It was a decent experience. So should I any other time need to wait long for a train in the airport, I might actually just take metro to the central station, because at the central station, if you need to wait and you want to buy yourself something, trust me, that is cheaper than buying a drink at the airport. Plus, I actually have this app for the trains, so that I can buy train tickets on my phone. And well, you can only do that obviously if you're unfortunately have a Danish bank account at the moment, but that's another story. But it also have this discount voucher where you can save 20% on drinks at the 7-Eleven store, which is like I don't know if there's 7-Eleven stores many other places than in Denmark. I do believe they are international. But it's basically a kiosk selling anything from fast food to a drink to newspapers to candies to cakes to whatever you want to have with you on the go. And I can get 20% discounts on drinks, but it doesn't. It's not valid for the one in the airport. It's only valid for all other stations. So obviously, why would I need to pay full price if I can get it discounted? So I know now for my next travelings, I will definitely make use of this onwards. Definitely. So yeah, it was an adventure, but a good one. I still reached my flight in time. Had fine time in the airport, which they're also totally rebuilding. I need to get used to that as well. It was the first time I had to go to the D Pier um, this year, and that is also being rebuilt. Like, can't barely recognize it. I believe they are expanding both the airport and the shopping areas in the airport. Um, that's a constant process, I guess, on improving the airport. Uh, they have definitely been expanding a fair bit the last couple of years. Yeah, reminds me I need to get flight tickets sorted for September, for my September trip. I wanted to do that a bit later this week, probably like tomorrow or Friday. A little bit based on then I can push the payment for next month. We also found a design on some pot holders I want to use, if want to make at some stage. So we are about, I don't know, a bit more than halfway on the first half side. But as I said, this row is super duper simple. It's just double crochets every stitch all the way. Good thing is I make easy progress then. I am curious how far I am once I'm done with this repetition. Because reading the pattern, it seems like these two repetitions kind of is the whole shawl. But maybe I can do more. I don't know. What I will do is I'm going to finish all these repetitions, which is a few more rows for sure. Because I think, so I'm working on row 12 of the repeat. And it has 30 rows. So I have a fair few rows to go still. We'll see when I get there. It's not my biggest concern right now. I'm just chucking along. Looking forward to show the final edition of this to whoever gets the lucky person. Nah. I will definitely block it and make some photos. Throw it on my... I need to be better at using my Instagram. And sharing what I make on my Instagram. Oh, Sheely. Now this is what I was afraid of. This is why I need to put this one down, because I start pulling like the wrong strands. So it'll just work up the yarn I've pulled out, and then I should really put my cake into my working tray, because that's the best chance I have of this not turning into yarn bath. So that is what I'll do when I have this yarn a little bit more worked up. Just to save my nerves for any potential yarn bath. Should be possible not to have it, but don't split on me, yarn. So I'll just shortly put in a stitch marker to keep track of my yarn. And then, my friends, I am really sorry, but we have to take this lovely cake. As you can see, we are slowly bathing a bit, and I am putting it in the crate next to me to prevent maybe the unpreventable, but to try to prevent what can be prevented. Also, it gives me a little bit more arm room to work, which isn't too bad either, actually. So soon. So we have completed a row and a half. Um, Ladies, you have to tell me if you want me to work on a different project, right? You just need to type in chat and let me know. You all seem so very silent. You're more than welcome to say hello. And if you're new to this channel, I do hope you enjoy what you're seeing or what we're chatting about. But yeah, peek in if you want to. Always happy to have the company. If you have questions for me, or if you have a topic you think I should discuss, feel free to let me know. Because yeah, I will be happy to discuss. The news lately here in the Netherlands has been a lot about the NATO top meeting, because it's been here in the Netherlands. Lots of presidents, prime ministers from around the globe who's a part of NATO, if their country is a part of NATO, has been here to the meeting, which I believe were yesterday. Or maybe the meeting is today. I don't know. It's like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour planned meeting, and then that's it. But they all come like in person. So there's like super high security everywhere. From the airport to all the hotels they're in and so on. It's utterly crazy. And there are definitely some places where you're like, why is it that they came here in an aircraft? They could have been driving because it's just around the corner. I don't know. So there are people who has their concerns of the environment, obviously, which I can't blame them completely. But at the same time, some things are just more convenient because at the same time, people could ask why I'm not driving in a car to Denmark all the time when I go back in the light of things. Denmark, where my parents live, about 965 kilometers away, which is about 9.5 hours drive in a car, or 9 hours drive, if traffic is kind. But the thing is, my parents live on an island, so to get there, I will have to either take a ferry or a toll bridge, depending on what route I choose. For the both of them, the price of that is like half my flight ticket. Because I need to go back and forth, right? And then the consumption of gasoline and wear and tear on your car is probably the other half of my tickets. Then I would rather take the flight and use the convenience of not having to be focused for 9.5 hours on my own. So when I travel alone to visit my parents in Denmark, yes, I will take the flight. I even looked at taking the train, but the train prices are as expensive as flying. And then, my friends, I will take the comfort of flying anytime. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That said, when we do go 2 people there, then it is cheaper driving. But then we also 2 people with a driver's license. We have 2 people who can drive. We will switch around driving. We usually option to take the ferry rather than the toll bridge. The toll bridge is cheaper, but it's a longer drive, like physical drive. And the benefit of the ferry right now is that you get a 45 minutes break while you're crossing, which is basically like a free break in the sense of you don't lose time because you need to spend time to take the ferry regardless. So on the time schedule thing, it's a free break. And then, yeah, so after like 6 hours, we have a ferry, and then it's 45 minutes ferry, and then we have another bit more than 2 hours. Usually, if traffic and so on is kind to us. That said, they are currently building a bridge/tunnel. I do believe it's going to be a full tunnel actually to cross between Denmark and Germany down there. So the ferry will be omitted. Yeah, that will shorten our drive by like half an hour probably. And we don't need to wait for the ferry. My curiosity is more how expensive is the crossing gonna be for the it's gonna be a toll tunnel to drive across, but how much will it be priced? What will it end up costing? But it's gonna be another couple of years before that one is ready. I think they estimate it to be finished in 2028. But once it's done, the drive theoretically back and forth should be quicker. So definitely looking forward for that. For those newcomers here, we are just chugging along of row 8 on the PuErhTea shawl, and row 8 is in the repetition row. not 8, 12, sorry. And this row is basically double crochets in each stitch. So it's super simple, nice, easy, chucking along. I am working in a Stanley Muffin Mini Luxe. I had to remove it and put it back into my project crate because I fear it would cake together, so to say, and cause me some yarn bath. So instead, right now, it is now in my project crate, which is right here. And I have it here next to me. It's a little bit elevated, so I can easily pull the yarn out and then we just chuck along. Quite a few rows to go. And we will see what the end result will be. I know that I am curious. And we just keep chucking along. So yeah, I do wonder. We do have some stuff. Have to see what the next part is once we are done through this. If you want, we still have the GingerTea Cowl also available to be worked on. But right now I do believe, I do like the concept of keeping this as a project. Like, if unless my hands gets too warm, it would be nice if we can get as much done on this shawl as possible today. Meanwhile, it has become 3 p.m. here in Central Europe, here in the Netherlands. It's 3 p.m. right now. And I keep chucking along all these double crochets. I've stopped counting stitches in the sense of, as long as I keep to the stitch count and following the pattern, it should be fine. And I pray that I don't need to frock. That is pretty much it. I am curious if there's anyone out there actually using the yarn holders when they craft. You know, not the spin, but the holder with the strap on the end. Like you could theoretically walk with them, but you could also hang it in your car if you're on the way. They usually have these wristless straps on the end to keep and help holding the yarns. Like, are you one of those that uses these entrapments? I haven't tried yet, but they have made me wonder. What I can say is that we are getting remarkably closer to the end. This is how much we got left of this row. Dun, dun, dun. Then I'm curious to see what is next. Hopefully not a bunch of double crochets only. I kind of hope we do get some variety. I don't remember right now what should be there. I will need to check with the pattern what row 13 will be. But first we need to finish up so far that we get to row 13. But what I can tell you is that we have soon finished 2 rows. And the first row we finished pretty quick, but it also had like half of it was chains. And chains do go a bit quicker. We are almost there at the end of the repetition row 12 with all these double crochets. But yeah, as I said, I do have a weekend where I'll be playing Home Alone because whichever was planned for me isn't planned anymore. That was already de-planned like 2 months ago because the Federation decided not to go through with a specific competition. So yeah, I could theoretically pop on some lives. or I could just sit down and do a bunch of work. I still have the idea I want to design stuff. I do need to finish setting up my web shop and make some information about that. That will be a video on its own. I need to edit my visit to Hobby in Roskilde. So I went to a real life Hobby a bit more than a week ago now. It's and then now we need to find the stitch to work in. Then let's see, 1, 2, 3. That will be here. 2 double crochets and a treble. Don't know what's up with this yarn. It's not being straight like this was better. And the treble. Yay! Finished repetition row 12. Awesome! So what we need to check now is what is next in the pattern. So what we could do is do like this, because this is the pattern. As you can see here, we finished row 12 with the same as row 4. Just a few more stitches in this because it's a repetition. And then we go to the shells and fans section from row 13. So basically I look mainly at this because that gives me a really good idea. So I like diagrams better than the long descriptions, but I do also partially do the long descriptions. So we start by chaining 4, and then we do 4 double crochets into the first stitch. We skip a stitch. We do a single crochet in the next stitch. We skip 2 stitches, do 7 double crochets into the next. Skip 2, do a single crochet, skip 2, 7 double crochets, skip 2, etc. So that's pretty simple. That is what we are going to be doing. That is what we will be doing. And don't forget to take something to drink either if you haven't. So I will flip my work around and we will do the 4 double crochets into that first stitch. I already did the treble, which by the start of the row is a chain 4 in these patterns. I personally think that Ines, who is the owner of Red Teapot Atelier, does some really gorgeous pattern writing. So I need to skip just 1 stitch, and then I need to do the single crochet. And then I need to do 2 stitches skip and do 7 doubles. Welcome back, Susan. Wonderful to have you back with us. I hope the grocery shopping went fine. Meanwhile, I have done 2 full rows, actually, exactly 2 full rows, just started on the 3rd row, of the PuErhTea shawl, which you may see or recognize from last time around. That said, for the PuErhTea, I have been working on it outside of these lives. So far, my hand is still not so warm. I can't work with this yarn. But I do need to be mindful because suddenly they can be. 1, 2, and in the 3rd we do a single crochet. Prepare for a double, but first skip 2 stitches, and in that 3rd stitch we do 7 doubles, and we get these kind of like small shells all the way across. So that is what we are doing. I would say if you haven't done it yet, Susan, do grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Sit down, grab any crafting project you would be working on. I don't know what is up your alley these days, what project you currently have going on. I know I am unique by constantly having so many VIPs that I'm working on. Part of that is also because I like to have different projects to shift between. 1, 2, 3. Let's see, I should have 7 here, right? 2, 4, 6, 7. I do. Coffee! Coffee! Yes, good plan. And you're gathering supplies for your beach vacation. That sounds nice. Are you going somewhere nice, like in state or going out of state, or like any interesting plans for beach vacation? Is pretty broad, right? I could choose a vacation where I just throw up my legs and do absolutely nothing. Needless to say, I really, really like my new job. It's so kind to me. 1, 2, 3. Apparently, it claims that we do not have a very good connection right now, even though we are plugged in, full solid. I do apologize if I am lacking, then please blame YouTube. Jersey, so to the shore of New Jersey. That sounds nice. A place you've been before, or is it a new place to you? Two, four, six, 7. Yay. Skip 2, single crochet. Skip 2, 7 doubles. About 100 miles south of you. Okay, so it's a bit of a drive, but not too bad. Is basically what I understand from this. It's like having a vacation house, beach house, or are you going to a hotel? Or is it family? Are you so blessed to have family close there? I'd love to take a visit to the beach. Last time was windy though, when I went to the beach. Rental house with the family. Oh, that sounds nice too. That sounds really lovely. The good thing about rental houses when with the family is it gets a little bit of a neutral ground for everyone, um, which I think personally is a nice thing. Um, last time we went to one was last summer, but it's not going to happen this year. 2, 4, 6. It should be 7. Give me a moment. 2, 4. Yeah, there is 7. But that won't happen this year round. When we have done them, we have done it with my parents, but my mom is definitely not at a stage where she can go on vacation. I'm sure though she would be ready to go on vacation if her illness allowed her to, as in the sense of you could leave that at home as well. She is though a trooper, really. She is being gorgeous and doing great, considering the situation. I'm rather proud of how she's handling things right now. 1, 2, and 3. Seven. So we skip 2, do a single crochet, then we skip 2, and we do 7 double crochets. That is basically all the way around. So we are still doing a bunch of double crochets, long term, that is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know the yarn is getting warm when you start having the feeling you can hear it. Um, 2, 4. It gets like squeaky. So yeah, if I will reach to finish this row before yarn gets too squeaky, I don't know. So far, it's still not snacking too much in my hand, but I can feel it's not as flowing as the beginning, but we will see. Two, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2. 1, 2. And the third, we'll do a bunch of doubles. So the fans, oh, the shell section is what she calls this. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a fair bit of double crochet squeezed into one stitch though. And then we skip 2 and we'll do a single crochet, skip 2, and then it's time again for a bunch of doubles. Oh, 7, all in the same stitch. Two, 4, 6, 5. We need 2 more. Then we'll skip 2 stitches and we'll work in the single crochet in the third stitch. Skip 2 stitches and again 7 doubles. Honestly, I feel you could almost get to know the pattern just by joining my lives. 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Just need to get some yarns pulled out here. I had to put it down to prevent yarn bath a bit earlier. It's much better when you do an outside pull on these cakes. When doing the inside pull, you really just need to let the cake stay at one location. Don't move it too much around. Two, four, five. Don't spit on me. We'll redo it. 6, 7. Skip 2, single crochet. Skip 2, bunch of doubles. I'm just checking some settings, but we should be pretty okay. Yeah. Goody goody. We finished the single crochet with skip 2. It is a lot of repetition though. Two, four, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And time to get some more yarn out. This is why I prefer generally the yarn spindles, because it's just throwing on the cake and you just pull and you get the yarn automatically almost. Doing the inside pulls, you do need to make a slight bit more effort to get the yarns. Because if I just crochet without doing this, my tension will get even tighter, and it's already tighter than average. But that's fine. I'm good with that. 4, 6, 7. I have been really debating on going to my office at work. So I work 100% remote, but I can go to an office because they do have an office. So if I want to, I can go to the office, and they will even refund my travel costs getting to the office, which is in Amsterdam. And I'm like, I could go see if I could find some like yarn stores in Amsterdam, because I know they have them, such as Stephen West has his like knitting store in Amsterdam. But I also know I need to buckle up my patience, because that is gonna be one heck of an expensive trip if I want to buy something. But just to get inspiration and just to see how it looks would be kind of nice. 2, 4, 6, 7. You should be quite a designer. I'll tell you something scary. I actually have a design in my mind for knitting, but I am not 100% confident that I can write knitting patterns, or let alone even make tutorials for them. But I have this idea for a beanie in my head, which I think could work. So what I might do is I might just knit it up, and then if there's enough want for it, I could launch a pattern or get it written. 1, 2, 3. Just as well as I have ideas for shawls and bags, and I just need to sit down and actually do it. It's so much easier to talk about than the actual action behind it. But I am genuinely inspired to create something. 2, 4, 6, 7. Meanwhile, I am chucking along, hoping we might experience a color change together. 5, 6, 7. Regardless, I do have a knitting project for July. Because in July I want to knit the beanie where I'm gonna triple strand it. So that is what I'm gonna do in July. 2, 4, 6, 7. And I think I just want to do a classic rib knit beanie. Nothing fancy, because you know it's partially variegated and held together and everything. I don't think you need to add in extra pattern definition by creating a pattern around it, so to say. So I just want to try to keep it simple. 2, 4, 5, 6. But most proud I am right now is that I have been following the plans I laid for Fleur. So we are in line to get it finished sometime this year. Before end of December. New Year's Eve was kind of my goal date. And then when I have vacation, in the sense of when I'm not in the country, I allow myself freedom to not be forced to work on it. But so far I'm in line to have it finished mid-December. And also now when it is summery warm, I need to make sure that I get a bit more done when it is a bit colder, because it is a warm project to sit with. I tell you, it's big and warm. That is officially the downside of mosaic crochet in the summer. In comparison, this is much colder because it's not even close to half the size. I wonder if I should actually price spread it out, Fleur, and measure it, how big it is in inches. I'll let you guys know in the yarn talk video. 7. So we'll skip 2 and a single crochet, skip 2 and a bunch of doubles. Before we continue, we need more yarn. And there is still no color change in sight. Color changes really motivates me because you can really feel you make progress when you see them. 2, 4, 6. I need one more. 2, 4, 6, 7. Skip 2, single crochet. And now we're getting closer to the end. I just need to quickly check how they do this center. Okay, so I will do skip 2 and then the 7, and then we'll work at single crochets in the top center. Okay, so we'll start by doing 7 double crochets here in the same stitch. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then it's normally I would skip 2 stitches and work in a single crochet, which I still technically have to do, but that 2 stitches puts me into the center. And here I'll work in 2 single crochets, chain 2, and we go on the other side where we then work in 2 single crochets. Then we'll skip 2 stitches and work in the 7 double. Oh, just a moment here. Susan tells me here she's been making granny squares with sock yarn held double to use up the yarn without making socks. That's an option too. Actually, I got socks with me home. My mom finally finished the socks that I like. I spotted some yarn back in March when I was there. And I said, oh, if you don't know what to use the sock yarn for, you could make me a pair of socks if you feel like it. And she finally finished them because she basically had almost a month where she did not have the energy to craft. Now she started a bit slowly again to do a bit of crafting. A little bit of crocheting, a little bit of knitting as she feels like it, so that's nice. The self-striping sock yarn comes out in a pretty mix of colors, especially if you hold it together where the colors aren't the same. Like, then it's really a nice plethora of colors that can come out of that. Definitely. I can imagine. Two, four, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6. I had to hold myself back the other day because I found one of my yarns that I kind of like, but I haven't made yet with what I wanted to make it with the ones I had. But I was like, oh, it's a good sale. I should fill up my stash with more of them. And I'm like, don't, 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 don't. And I didn't. So I'm proud. I am rather proud. I did though. If you have watched my visit to the stores from last week, I did buy one skein with me home, but that is for the hat I want to make in July. So in July, that yarn should be out of my stash as well to go with a couple of some other yarns. So that's kind of fine. Well, I will probably have some scraps left, but those are just going to go straight into my scrap pile, and I'll just classify it as consumed. I think that is pretty much where that will end up. 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, 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 don't spit on me, yarn. 7. Sent me a photo to show. Oh, sweet. Give me one moment. I'll grab my stitch marker here and I will go find my email. If you want, I can share for everybody who's watching. I just need to log into my mail first, so give me a brief moment. Oh, the downside of being on the newsletter of so many yarn companies is the fact that they are like, come buy our yarns. I want to, but not yet. Um, da, da, da. Oh, they look nice. That is so nice. I assume I'm fine to share. And in that event, I will show this. They are nice. I really like how these are turning out. That is some really nice, sprawly, combined patterns for sure. What's the idea, like just to sew them together as a blanket, or do you wanna make a bigger one, like a bed throw, or what are you thinking right now? I love it. Lovely, great, different colors. Are they all the same yarn brand? Or is it just various different sock yarns, just the same thickness? But I really like these. They look great. Really look great. They are nice. Susan says here, I'll keep making squares in the same brand, KFI. Okay. So it's just a question of how many squares you will eventually have made, and then eventually you'll sew them together and you have one big blanket. Or something else. Technically, you could sew them together and have a cardigan or a hoodie or a poncho. Just make sure when you do sew them together that you have them all laid out and sort of semi-connected so you don't make a Stina. That would be really sad. To make a Stina. Which is basically when you sew things so well together you can't frock it and it's wrong. So the shape is wrong. Yeah. That was definitely not one of my best days. You're very welcome. Susan says a great options. I was only thinking about a blanket, but a cardigan may be fun. You could easily do a cardigan and just sew them all together. You just need to lay them out in the right way. And then it would work easily as a cardigan. Why not? You almost make me wanting to make a cardigan. Which I could. But it's not in my list of projects right now. 2, 4, 6, 7. Skip 2, single crochet. Skip 2, double crochet. Yeah. I think a cardigan could be really fun. And it's a great way to use up some yarn. If you don't want to make socks out of the sock yarn. And it would be warm. It would be a warm cardie. The only thing you need to define is how many squares you need to make and how big of a cardigan you need to make. Or if you want to give the cardigan away to someone else, maybe if you have a daughter or something like that, that would be happy for it. I don't know. That is always the big questions. Who am I making things for? I just have one big pile of stuff. Not going many places because, well, I did in the autumn give away a shawl as a present to 4. Oh, I made a stitch too many. I made 8. I should just make 7. Let's recount. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 7. Good. So I gave away a shawl in the autumn, so that was kind of nice. But I still have way too much in my stash too. I really need to clear it out a bit. But that's cool. We have plans for that too. 2, 4, 6. We are running towards the end. I think we are about 3/4. No, not 3/4. 2/3 of this row. This row does take extra time due to these shells, but it does look nice. The yarn consuming. So I have been like, why haven't I seen a color change yet? Nope, there's still mustard. Whatever I pull out of the cake. Eventually it will come. But I am starting not to be so sure it will come today. Two, 4, 6, 7. The only downside, of course, of making granny squares to make the cardigan is you have to sew them together. But I also can understand, how can I say this best? I can understand if, you know, if you make a blanket of it, you also need to sew them together. So it doesn't really matter, I think, in the end. But if I would probably, if for the cardigan, I would definitely option to maybe consider having some yarn left so you can like do a round of maybe half doubles or something like that on the edge, or 2 rounds just to kind of make a nice edging. Because theoretically, if you want to make it for yourself, it's just about having your measurements and then lay them out, and then it's a question of sewing. 2, 4, 6. Well, that's also an option. I use continuous join crochet to attach squares, so you basically crochet them together. Oh, it's definitely also an option. But I would still probably keep some yarn to work around the edges, because it makes a nicer edge once all the squares are sewn together. I don't know how much sock yarn you still have in your stash. How big skeins are these? It's like 3.5 ounce skeins, or are they smaller or bigger? 3 more. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yep. Leaving enough for finishing is definitely a tricky part. And I can't help you here. I have zero experience with the sock yarn or making a cardigan like that, but I think it is a brilliant idea. 100-gram skeins are fine weight. So they're like 400 meters ish, which is like what, 440, 50, 440 ish yards, maybe a bit less. That would be like regular sock yarn weight here. 420 meters. Okay, so they're like 450 yards, I guess. Give or take. 60. Damn, I'm close. This is my math, by the way. It's just pure head math. Making a raw estimate. Five, 7. 1, 2. But the real question then is, can you get more of the yarn? Let's say you're short to finish up. Can you get more of the yarn? And the good thing is, every time you finish a skein, you kind of finish 2 skeins at once. That's the benefit of holding it double. Do you think I look forward to the hat I am gonna knit in a 3-stranded? Yes, I am, because I'll finish 3 balls in one go. Except I actually don't know yet how smooth it's gonna go, or if I'm gonna go nuts for having 3 balls rolling around. Time will show me. Now, how much do I need to join the squares? Well. How much do you need to make a square? Estimate. But you don't need that completely, because you don't go around the squares like 4 times. You just attach them one by one. I don't know, half a skein maybe? 1.5 1.5 skeins if you want to, maybe 1.5 is maybe what you need if you want to sew them together and do edging, like if you want to do half double or single crochet edge of a few rounds around. The next question is, how much do you have left still? Because you do have a fair amount of squares, but based on these squares, I can't really estimate how many more you need to finish a cardigan. And it also depends on how long do you want your cardigan to be. So we do have multiple factors in play here in the sense of if you may need or not need if you want to do this. And one could say, if you just need to order, like say 2 skeins to finish up a cardigan, that would be kind of okay if you finish up the rest of your stash. Yeah, exactly. Only some squares need 4 sides. So the amount of yarn you need for the last round is definitely more than enough to do the round crochet together for those sides. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. I don't even have a. My estimate guess would be 1 to 2 skeins for a full cardigan, depending on the size, of course. But I don't know. Some things tend to take more or less yarn than I expected to. Sometimes I'm really lucky, and sometimes I am really unlucky. But yeah, so I caked up some yarns for the fleur, so that's ready to go. And now I'm actually debating if I should have caked up the yarns for the ones I want to knit, the beanie I want to knit in July. But you know, taking forward the yarn winder is a swift job done. So that's probably my least concern. It's just a more a question of doing. Was tempted the other day. There's one of the web stores that I sometimes check out, and they had a free yarn winder if you bought 3 hanks of yarn. And I'm like, that yarn is even on sale. Why wouldn't I? And I didn't. I'm a big girl. I'm a good girl. I didn't. But I've been so tempting. So tempted. But I'm rather proud that I didn't. My goodness! Wait. Look. We have a yarn change, color change. There is a yarn knot right here. Oh my. I'm trying to split it off a bit. This is how subtle the color change is. But there's a color change, you see? It goes into a lighter yellow. I need something which is a better background than my hand. Maybe my T mark, because it's black. It gives a better feeling of the color change. So it's subtle, but it's there. There's a color change. Hallelujah. Color change incoming. And I wasn't sure if we would manage to have one, but we do. We do have a color change. Sometimes it's the small things that makes you happy. Color change is one of those. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. But yeah, we have a color change. It is subtle, but it's there. I'm not sure if it's visible when crocheted up. Not really. Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, we did have a color change. That means that we have done great work today because we worked through almost a full color. Well, not completely. I'd done like a row of the color or something like that before we started. That was nice. And I also like the lighter yellow a bit more than the mustard yellow, to be honest. Two, 4, 6, and 7. We skip 2 stitches and we do a single crochet. Then we skip 2 stitches, do a double. I need to do some counting, I see. That looked a bit funky. So just give me a moment to do a little bit of counting here. Could be that it's nothing. Single, double, single, double, single, double, single, single, double, single, double, single, double. Did I count wrong? Single, double. No, it's good. I did count wrong, so it's good. We are fine to get back on track. So we hopefully can finish up whatever row we are working on. Okay, come here with me. Because we need another 6 double crochets into this one. No, it's always a challenge if you make something where you're not following a pattern, or even if you do make something where you are following a pattern but you're using a different yarn, to estimate how much yarn you need. One of them I tried is I ended up needing a full skein more than I had anticipated. That surprised me a bit. But well, it's finished. Everybody's happy. I had the extra skein. I had planned it for another project, but now I need to buy probably before I'll be able to finish that project at some stage. But that's all right. I know that. It's in my stash upstairs, whichever I have left. 1, 2. Or I figure out an alternative, a different project, so to say, that could work up nicely in the same yarn. And the fun thing is the only difference between the yarn of the pattern and the yarn I used, it was a recycled version of it, but it's the same weight, the same yards or length. So technically it should have been fine, but I literally used a full skein extra for 6, 7. So they might have written it down wrong on the pattern. Like, I think it says I need, was it 6 or 7, and I ended up needing 7 or 8 skeins of the project I made. It was an okay project to make. Would I want to make it again in the future? Not sure. Would I want to work with the yarn in the future? Probably, just a different project. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 7. Skip 2. You're almost at the end. Look, so close, so close. So close we are. And it's all brightening up now because we have this little single thread of lighter yellow, which by the way is kind of like the last color change of this yarn. It goes into that yellow. What we need to do is to wait for it to go full yellow, and then I think, so there are 3 color changes left in this yarn, if I did my math correctly. Because there will be one more for the, so we have 1 strand of mustard yellow, 2 strands of sun yellow. That would be 1 yarn change. Well, maybe there's only 2 left, technically speaking. Because then we have one where it goes from the last strand of mustard goes into the sun yellow. 2, not 3. Unless there is something that I don't know. Sorry about the yawn. 2, 2, 4, 6, 7. It was a really weird night. I woke up like 40 minutes before my alarm. Then I sort of went back to sleep. And then my alarm went and I slept over. And the fun thing is, 40 minutes before my alarm, I was really debating if I should just get up and go to shower and get my day started. 5, 6, 7. So 2, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, skippity dip. And then we'll skip 2 again. Do another 7. Right, it's dangerous if you go back to sleep. But I was like, I feel sleepy and I feel fresh. And you know, when you wake up early, it's always like a gamble if you sleep more, if you'll be fresher when you wake, or if you get more sleepy from it. I'm not really sure, honestly. 2, 4, 6, 7. If this was one of those days, that would have been better. Two. And then we only skip 1 stitch, which is correct. And in the last one, we'll do 4 of the doubles and a treble. Now I just need to get this one inserted correctly. That's always a challenge of these end locations, to ensure you get the yarn split correctly, because it's still in a, technically it's in a chain, right? You need to work it into. So that was my 4 doubles, and then I need a treble. Hallelujah. Guess what? That was row 3. Row 3. This is what we are looking at, my friends. This is what we're looking at. I think you can actually see it. The color changes around here. You can see it goes a bit lighter. So that's nice. I like that. I do like that. So what I could do is I could do this, and we could do this, and we could do this. 3 more rows added compared to when we started today. We could do 1 more row, I think, because my hands aren't that tacky yet. Yeah, we could easily do that because that is a bunch of chains. That is a bunch of chains. But before we do that, I will need to say I am sorry, but we need a quick break. I will be back in less than 2 minutes, so please enjoy some music.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just 2 hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be 2 hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laugh so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just 2 hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be 2 hearts running wild.
And I am back. Thank you for your patience. You sent another photo. Awesome. I will see. Oh yes. Oh, it definitely has potential. Let me just share for those people that could be curious. That looks nice, doesn't it? It definitely is possible. Definitely. The only real question could be if there is enough width around your neck, or if you might need it 2 granny squares wide. But you're definitely getting there. There is definitely potential here, and I really like the sorted colors here and how they blend together. This is such a unique idea. No, we are a good team, you and I would say. Great team. Now, when we are talking about patterns, this, my friends, is row 14. So I'll do a chain 4 or treble, chain 2, and then I need to single crochet into the first double crochet on the second stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the single crochet stitch, chain 2, single crochet in the top of the fan, chain 2, etc. So, you know, it's smooth sailing, and I should be able to finish that row before the end of today. It's 3 different colors of sock yarn. Ah, okay. Yeah, I think they look really, really nice together. Like I think it's gonna be a really, really nice project, to be honest. Also as a cardigan. And it's gonna be a bit warm because usually at least regular sock yarn, there's wool in it. So, you know, it's a good cardigan for the winter. I am a bit jealous actually. 4 plus chain 2. And then I turn my work around, and in the top double crochet I need to work in a single crochet. Then we need to chain 2, 1, 2, and we need to work in a double crochet in the single crochet stitch of the previous row. And we chain 2, and we work in a single crochet in the top center stitch. So that is gonna be 1, 2, 3, U. This is keep my tongue straight in my mouth, but honestly, this is like all the way across, so it's nice and sweet. Oh, that could very well be that they go great together because of the same brand. Um, because often they probably have specific style in their color combination, like a specific tone hue color wise. That also helps because I have the feeling they really complement each other quite well. One, two. As I said, this one is easy, this row. It's just grifting through. And then we'll see how much time we have left afterwards. But yeah, I've really been like, yeah, I'm in the mood to get stuff. I shouldn't. My mom wants to do some mosaic double side knitting. She has done plenty in the past. And I promised to get her some yarn for it. So maybe I need to do that before we head off to Denmark next. I do have some weeks. It's like tomorrow in 3 weeks is when we will get going. I also ordered some knitting needles, which are cubics shaped, to see if I enjoy them. And if I do, I want to get the Knit Pro Jet Cubics, so to say, spend a bit of extra money to get some quality needles. Yarn purchase enabler. Creative Grandma will give a free shipping code for the USA Premier Yarn orders today, only good for 2 hours of a live stream. The real question is if the free shipping code is also for free shipping outside the US, because then yes, it's an enabler, because shipping from yarn stores in the US to EU is expensive, and that is pretty much why I have very few to non-American yarns in my stash. I can imagine it might just be valid for the US purchases. I believe she's also a Premier Yarns affiliate. Yeah, or say only, oh, Americans, if you are here watching and you need Premier Yarns and you want a free shipping, you probably need to watch Creative Grandma later today, if I hear that correct. Unfortunately, I am unable to make good use of that offer. Because Elsa might have. And then I still have this faint hope that the angry-haired yellow man across the pond will not, mark my words, will not impose tariffs on the EU. Because as long as that's not happening, then I might be able at some stage to actually get myself an order from the US. But any tariffs added on top is definitely making it even less worth it. Yeah, the big sale from Premier starts in 1.5 hours. It is really summertime for sales, isn't it? Because one of my other yarn stores that I follow right now runs like a 20% discount, and they rarely have 20% discounts. And I'm so tempted to place an order. I'm like seriously, extremely tempted. And I really should not because, well, obvious reasons. I do have personal discount code of like 10% for my next purchase, which I haven't been told expires. So I'll just like wait patiently for another good deal. No, I'm trying to use up some stash. You ladies know that. So I really should not get tempted by sales and stuff. Yeah. Most Premier yarns come from Turkey, so best for the EU to buy from Turkey, not US. Yeah, we still need to pay import tax from goods from Turkey, though. So that might only be the shipping fee being cheaper. Or I need to find what you also sometimes have is Bulgarian companies, or because Bulgaria is basically a neighboring country to Turkey. They sometimes can get it imported to the EU for cheaper. And then your import tax, so to say, is already paid. And the transportation is also somewhat cheap because it's within the EU. Bottom line is, I really still need to spend up some yarn, use some yarn before I get too much more. I do, though, need to get a little yarn for some planned projects, and that yarn I don't have in my stash. And some of those yarns obviously will be going to my mom, so I won't really count it as an addition to my stash because it's not going to stay long with me. Well, they're interesting on how imports exports work. Yeah, there is some crazy stuff, especially when it comes to the EU and our tax regulations. That said, if whatever I'm doing becomes more profitable as a business, I could likely deduct those import taxes as it's a tax. And I eventually would earn on those by reselling, depending on where I would sell to, obviously. But that is a whole other story. The weather for New Jersey today is now 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, that's warm. Or 33 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from northwest at 6 miles per hour. Humidity is 56. Yeah, it's definitely gotten warmer. I think you definitely need to be happy you got out of this earlier. Let's see, what is it here now? 2.5 hours into the stream. Let's see, weather. For my little part of the world is, oh, it's warmer. It's partly cloudy still. Temperature of 82 degrees Fahrenheit or 28 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from west at 7 miles per hour. Humidity is 43, so it's gotten drier. That said, we do have weather predictions for tomorrow saying it will be raining tomorrow. And that is the reason that I'm just gonna let it rain, so to say. Then Friday, I want to, maybe I'll do it Thursday, depends on, tomorrow is Thursday, but that would depend on if it only rains in the morning or when it rains. But I need to give my garden a little spritzel of for the weeds on the driveway. They don't like vinegar, so that's what they're gonna get. And apparently I am hungry, according to my stomach. But my stomach can't get to wait until it's dinner. It's 4:32 p.m. Central European time, and I need to have a look at the pattern to see the census. So we did this chain 2, and in the first of those single crochets, which is this one, we'll do a double crochet. We'll need to get some yarn up. We'll chain 2, and in that center chain, which is here, do a double crochet, chain 2, and we'll do another double crochet, chain 2, and then work that into the last chain of the previous row of this, and then chain 2, and then we are back to the single on top of the fans, chain 2 with a double in the previous single, etc. So, as I said, this was going to be a quick row. And that is basically because it's mainly single chains, then a few single crochets and a few double crochets. We don't complain when it goes nice and swift. It feels like great progress because that means that we have done 4 rows of this pattern once we finish this life. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel accomplished. Which is a nice feeling. I feel rather accomplished. I do have some what did I want to say? I do have some skeins for a bucket hat. I want to like try to make one of those granny square bucket hats, which is like fully granny squares from step 1 until the end. So the intention is that I want to try to make one of those at some stage too. But I also have, that's actually still some of my drops yarn, where there's also a bucket hat planned, but not based on granny squares. It's just based on regular crochet, which I also want to make. I should make that this summer. Maybe I should find it for next week. I need something which is not a big project. I feel like a project I can actually maybe finish within a reasonable amount of time. I think I might find that for the yarn talk video. We can have a talk about it. What I also need to do later today is to check on how my freezer is doing. It's defrosting right now, which was definitely an urgent need. It have never been defrosted since I got it. And that, my friends, believe it or not, was back in 2011. And it's been doing pretty well for a freezer that's never been defrosted before. But now it's kind of just so bad that I really need to do something about it. So that is what I am. I am acting. And since it's summer, it's actually a really good time to do it because obviously it's warm. And believe it or not, it's on the attic, which is really warm because it's warm outside. So it's kind of perfect timing. Guess what? You're almost to the end of this. Then that is when, my friends, I will say that I can definitely not reach to finish another row because I know the next row is a lot more work in the stitches. No, this is mainly chains, so it's easy, nice and smooth sailing. Oops. Oh, I don't need a double here, I just need a single crochet on top. A double and a single on top. And a double down here. And now I believe it's chain 2. And then it's a single in that last stitch. Chain 2. And then it's a treble, I think. Yeah, it's a treble. In that very, very last stitch. 1, 2, 3 was the treble. Hallelujah. And why is it now that I think I cannot finish the next is because row 15 is a heck crap ton, sorry for my words, of double crochets. In fact, it's a treble crochet, 2 doubles in the first stitch, and then in each of the stitch all the way around, it's double crochets. And that, my friends, I won't reach to do today, but I can start on it. I could start on it if you feel like we should. I can definitely start on it. So we start by chaining 4 instead of the treble. And then we turn the work around, which is it's growing nice and securely. And then, well, that was too much of a turn. Then we'll work in 2 double crochets in that very first stitch or the last stitch of the last round, however we want to see. And then there's a chain 2, so I need to do 2 double crochets around that chain 2. Then there is a single crochet where I need to work in a double crochet. Then there is another chain 2, which is another 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. Then there's a double crochet, which I put in my double crochet stitch. And then there's another chain space of 2, which I work in 2 double crochets. Then there's a single crochet where I work in my double crochet. That is basically how this round is going to run. So it is a bunch of double crochets. Nice, easy, and breezy. But working around double crochets is, well, you know it as well as I do, but it just takes time. So that, my friends, is where we are at. Because last time I just did double crochets all the way around, it took like an hour. um, but yeah, we'll work a bit, and then I got it started, and who knows, maybe I'll have a bit more time later to finish up some more. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Much appreciated. But yeah, we'll just cracking along here. Which is how we're looking, basically. Really should put this on the other side of me. That works easier. A little bit more yarn. So we'll probably have another 10 to 15 minutes to work on this. And then I am afraid real life is calling on me. But as I said, I do have some good news because next week, or next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next weekend, so that will be in the weekend of the 5th July. You have, it's 4th of July Friday? It is, which is national holiday in the US. But 4th, 5th, and 6th of July, I am home alone. So I can imagine I will be doing some extra streaming if you guys want me to, and I can do it on different hours, so it doesn't need necessarily to be an afternoon stream. It could also be an evening stream for me, which would be your afternoon. That is definitely a possibility. Probably also be good to get some other hours in outside the normal clock, what I do. But right now we are just chucking along, stitch by stitch. This day started with double crochets and it's finishing with double crochets. It's a bit funny. How that goes. Yep, still looking nice. But as I said, we are definitely not going to finish this row. I just physically will not have the time for it. If you're a new watcher and you have never been here before, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the like. Do subscribe to my channel. And if you're a rewatcher of this live stream, thank you so much if you made it so far. I very much appreciate your support. Good afternoon, Barbara. Barbara Pavone says hi to everyone. Absolutely wonderful to see you. I love seeing new faces. Good to you also crocheting. I am making the PuErhTea shawl designed by Ines from Red Teapot Atelier. So it is a triangle shawl eventually at some stage. Right now it's just a bunch of double crochets, but it will turn into a shawl eventually. That is how far we are so far. I'm working in a Stanley Muffin Mini Luxe cake. And that is the final color. Right now we have 2 mustard yellow and a yellow, and this is like the solid yellow. So you have like 2 color changes left. If I calculated correct, might not have, but I should have 2 color changes left. Where is my stitch marker? There it is. So, I won't finish this one today. There's too much work left. Unfortunately, I would love to finish it today, but that is not happening. I have, though, made good progress. I've worked through 1 color change today because I have the feeling once we finish up today, that's probably approximately how much I did of the other color change before we started working. And we had a color change we worked through. So I think a decent estimate is definitely that I worked through a whole color change. The Stanley Muffin Mini Lux, if you want to know a little bit more about that, is it's a 250-gram cake, which is 90% acrylic and 10% lurex. Lurex is this golden strand you see. There are some speckles in the yarn. That is the lurex. And the 250 grams is 8.8 ounces, or it's 1,000 meters, or 1,093 yards. From PuErhTea. So Stanley is by PuErhTea in Bulgaria. So it's yarn that I imported all the way from Bulgaria to the Netherlands. I am in the Netherlands, should you be wondering. And it is a 4:55 p.m. here in the Netherlands right now. What are you working on making, Barbara? What project is it gonna end up as? So I mainly have shawls and cowls so far in my whips, and a single blanket, but the blanket is too big that I can do it on a live. That's just for me, being me, when I work on it. And then I want to find the yarns for a bucket hat. I believe I do have the yarns for that upstairs. A planned project I planned a while ago. I just haven't gotten around starting it, and I really should just get around doing it. Oh, that's nice. So Barbara is making a beanie for her aunt for her birthday. Great idea. I've definitely crocheted my fair amount of beanies too. I still have some yarn that could make some great beanies in my stash, but not done it yet. Partially intentionally and partially not intentionally, but just because I like to do different projects. Kind of like doing the same all and over and over again. It's not really me. I like just to do what I feel inspired by doing at the moment. And I've been inspired to get more of this shawl done. I guess subconsciously because I think it would be awesome if I could have this finished before the end of this month, because that would be really good for my stash project, in the sense of I am trying to eliminate my stash slowly. Well, decrease it, not eliminate it, because that's way too much yarn to go through to eliminate it. But I am genuinely trying to decrease my stash. And that would be really nice if I can get this one finished and done, because that is one more skein done and dusted. And it doesn't feel that I've done a lot in June to decrease my stash, to be honest. But that's because I've been busy in June. But I have done something. It's just not used up a lot of skeins. So yeah. Let's see, what do... Yeah, that's in the center. It's also 2 double crochets. Could definitely do the center too. Maybe I'm just quicker than I think I am. So even though I feel I've worked for ages in this shawl. But I have definitely gotten further on this row than I thought I would have when we started it. Good morning, oddballs. I hope you're well after your surgery, because I know you had surgery a few weeks ago. We just haven't seen much of each other because I assume you've been healing and I've been busy. I was in Denmark last week visiting my parents. And I went to Hobby. Yes, I went to Hobby. I just need to do a lot of editing. And then you guys will get a video of my visit to a hobby store in Denmark, like a real hobby store, not the web store. That was a nice experience, actually. A lot nicer than the communication that they're currently running. Oh no, my yarn split. I'm still on bed rest then at the end of the week, but I'm healing. That sounds good. Did the doctor say anything about a successful surgery? I hope it was successful within what was possible. Center is at 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And we are ready to go down the other side, even though it is actually 5 p.m. But I can maybe do 2 more minutes, or at least just get the side started. But yeah, I were in Denmark, and I managed to visit Hobby this time around. It was a quicker visit than, well, I didn't have as much time as I wanted to have, but it was probably more because I started by going into the store and just sucking in all the impressions, and then I was like, oh goodness, I also need to do some recording, and then, well, time kind of ran. That was it was a nice experience. It was a really nice visit. So we got almost well, what can I say? We got halfway on this row, and I wanted to show just a photo before shutting down. But I am packing the project down and my crochet hook, and we are then gonna come back up to say hello, and we should do like this so you don't see me double. Yeah, so I genuinely went to Hobby, which was kind of cool. Look, well, it's not that clear, but yeah, was it Hobby in there? That is outside of the store in Roskilde, which is the first physical hobby store that they made. And that was a pleasure. I have a fair bit of recording. That also means I have a fair bit of editing to do. Yeah, so that is what I need to do. I need to do some editing. And that is what I need to spend time on the coming days. I haven't had time yet to do that. Appa says she didn't go blind and they removed a lot of excess bone growth and fat from behind my eyes, so it's technically successful, but the swelling won't completely be gone for a couple of months yet. Yeah, I can imagine. You had quite a hefty surgery, didn't you? Um, I genuinely hope that it will heal quicker than anticipated. Um, so yeah, glad to hear it's technically successful. Now it's just a time of patience, a question of patience. Yes, Premier Jans is starting their big summer sale today. And Susan mentioned, for those that's joining us late, but Susan mentioned that if you're watching Creative Grandma's live later today, then there is a code for free shipping during her live only for the Premier Jans. So that is active only during her live stream. And that is unfortunately only free shipping for the US. But that's pretty nice, I would say. Um, if you're in the US and you're intending to buy some yarns from the Premier Yarn Sale. I wish I were in the US. I am not. So I need to accept the fact that I am broke, I guess. That said, it is 4 minutes past 5. And normally at 5 is when I usually tend to end my live streams. I will be able to stream a bit much more in 1.5 weeks. Because I'm home alone that weekend, so we'll do some longer streams then. I need to make sure I have enough to do fun things or change things around. And yeah, on Friday I'm coming with my yarn talk video, of course, so you can get a catch up of what I've all made while I was away to Denmark. Then on Monday I'll be back live again at 2 p.m. Central European Time. That is 8 a.m. Central, or not, sorry, 8 a.m. Eastern. Then Wednesday I'll be live as well, and then Friday I'll have yarn talk, and in between I might have something else. But what I do know for sure is I will have some lives during the American, um, uh, what is it called? Jesus, your National Day, 4th of July. I forgot the word for it. I'm sorry. Um, Everybody wishing utmost well wishes for healing. Ah, nice. Get free shipping for Canada if it's over 100. Oh, I am keen to hear what you end up putting in your yarn cart. I am all jealous. But if you guys end up using that sale and get some good sales, feel free to share me your sale carts, because I am definitely jealous. I'd love to get myself some premieres, but it's not gonna happen. Not this year. Maybe in the future. Who knows? Um, yeah, so I'm going to say take care. Happy crafting. Thank you for joining in on this live, and thank you if you have watched live all the way to the end for your support. Yeah, happy crafting. Until I see you again, I will see you again on Friday in my yarn talk video, and I'll be back again live on Monday. Bye.